Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. This year should be a special schus for Liora Rachel Bas Chaya Rezel and for Miriam Bas Chaya. We continue our series of shiurim in the Sefer Amari Pachat Yitzchak. We are on Maimot Sadi Ches. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Tefillin that you have to make a kesher meruba on the back of your shel rosh. There's a kesher meruba ke'ein dalid, like a dalid. V'yevshel odiyat tzuras v'chsav ela b'riyas ayin. It's impossible to tell you what it looks like exactly in a written form. You have to see it in order to understand it. You have to see a diagram. That's the Rambam says in Perek Gimel, Melacha Yud Gimel, Hilchos Tefillin. What's the makor of Divrei HaRambam? So Chazal tell us, V'risi asachoyrai melamed shehera HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe kesher shel tefillin. It teaches you that Moshe saw the back side of Hashem kiviyachol, that she showed him this kesher shel tefillin. So what's the pshat in the showing? So what's the pshat in this? In other words, now we have a makor that you have to see the kesher, because it says Hera HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe kesher shel tefillin. So Moshe Rabbeinu had to see it, but we have to understand what the hezber is. It's not b'mikra that this kesher, not just something technical, that this kesher requires riyas ayin dafka. Kame pe'amim asaknu. We've discussed in this sefer the inyan of Moshe in the seder hu shpizin. The halacha is that the aved of your father and the aved of your rebbe, the aved of your father comes first. And even though your rebbe is before your father, nevertheless, in the seder hu shpizin, Moshe Rabbeinu is preceded by the avos. Even though he's the rebbe and they're the father, yet Moshe Rabbeinu comes after the avos. And we have to understand why. The seder HaKapara al Chet HaEgel, the ikar poel, the ikar actor in this episode was, in the Seder HaKapara has to be Aaron. Nevertheless, the Psukei Vidui, Ana Hashem, Chata Amazeh Chata Gedola, V'yasu Lehem Egel Eloi Ezav, that says in Shmos Lamed Beis Lamed Aleph, that was said by Moshe. And this requires an understanding. Why normally the Maisa, the Kapara and the Maisa Egel, that's done by Aaron. On Yom Kippur, the Avod is done by Aaron. The Paradum is done by Aaron. So why is this pasuk specifically? Ana chata amazeh chata gedola b'yasel lo izav. Why is this said by Moshe and not by Aaron? Not only that, but Moshe is being misvada here. Moshe is confessing a sin that's not his. Some people want to learn from here that you can make a shliach to do vidui. Not everybody agrees with this. But that's not our issue right now. We know that was the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu said the vidui, and it requires hezber why. In the Ma'aser of Elazar ben Durdaya, that was one of the sharpstei fanim ba'avodas hatshuva, one of the sharpest, deepest ways of tshuva. That, remember, he went to every prostitute, and then he went to one, and she told him what she told him, and then he realized he has to do tshuva, and a basko came out, and it said after Yatsa Nishma, so after he died, Rabbi Elazar ben Durdaya, you're mizumin l'chayei olam haba. You are prepared to go to the world to come. Rebbe's cried, and he said, not only are Balei Tshuva, are they makabel them, but they call him Rebbe. It says Rebbe Elazar ben Durdaya. He became a Rebbe, he became a Ruv. So we don't find this in other inyanim, that a person should be called Rebbe, al kiyum shel maisim tovim. So he did maisim tovim. Why does that give him the name Rebbe? But here he did Tshuva, and he became a Rebbe. Normally we don't find that somebody becomes a Rebbe for doing maisim tovim. Rebbe is somebody who's zoche to Torah. You get to be called Rebbe if you're a Torah person, not if you're a Maisim Tovim person. So for Maisim Tovim you don't get it, and Rabbi Elazar ben Durdaya got it for Tshuva. We have to understand why. Even though we were commanded ala tefillah, included in the pasuk, L'avdo b'chol levavchem avodah shebalei b'tefillah, like the Gemara says, nevertheless we find that we need a special makor for tefillas tshuva. Baruch Hu wrapped himself up like a shliach tzibur, and he showed him, who's him? He showed Moshe Rabbeinu the Seder Tefillah, and that's the Seder Tefillah, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, Tefillah Hatshuva. And then there was a bris, that's Eino Chozeres Reikam. There's this covenant that doesn't come back empty. So you see here a big yisod, that there's regular Tefillah and there's Tefillah Hatshuva, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows Moshe Rabbeinu. The reason that there is a need for a special makor, for a heralo, Seder Tefillah B'tshuva, that cannot be included in the regular chiyuv tefillah, can be explained based on a yisod midivrei hagura, and this is a chidush gadol b'sokvo shel haklal, lo yehei shmiya gedola me'ri'iyah, that shmiya should not be greater than re'iyah. Hearing should not be greater than seeing. We see a chidush gadol b'tokvo shel haklal in the power of this klal. In the parsha of Shviras Luchas, it says, "Vayaris ha'egel u'mecholos v'yashlech miyodav v'saluchas v'yishaber osan." He saw the dancing, he saw the egel, he throws the tablets from his hand and he breaks them. Now HaKadosh Baruch Hu already heard that they made an egel. So what was mischadesh now that he saw the egel? He already heard from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that they made the egel. So what was mischadesh now that he saw the egel? And this the Graz Mitzayin L'Divrei HaGemara. You can't compare Shmiya to Re'iyah. And only when he saw the Egel did he break the Luchas. Now we don't normally understand Lote Shmiya Gedola Me Re'iyah like Brirus. That Re'iyah, when you see something, it's more clear to you than if you hear it. But from what the Graz says, it's Muchach, that it's much deeper. Because here, Moshe heard about the Asiyas Egel directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there's nothing more clear, there's nothing more true, there's nothing more definitive than that. So why is Shemiya Gedol? Why is Re'iyah Gedola Mishmiya? So we're talking here on a koach mikoach chotza nefesh. It's talking about how it impacts your psyche. The roshem shepoelas ha're'iyah leumas hashmiya. The tremendous roshem, the imprint, the mark that Re'iyah makes in contrast to Shmiya. A person who sees something and he's mispoil, he is much more likely to act on it than if somebody hears it. When you see it, it's much more powerful than hearing it. And that is miskulasem umuhusim ativis shelachushim ha'elu. That's why people like to have video shiur more than audio shiur, because when you see it, it just makes much more of a roshim on you than just hearing it. Everybody understands that we can be mitzaref this yisod through divrei Rashi on what Yosef said to Paro, in connection to the years of satisfaction, of satiation, shnos hasova, as asher Elohim asa higid lefaro. What God is going to do, He told to Paro. And in connection to the shnos harav, He said, asher Elohim asa heraes Paro. This He didn't just tell to Paro, shnos harav He showed Paro. On this change between showing and telling, Rashi is meir, b'sheva shanim atovas nemar higi lefi shayas samuch, u'b'sheva shnei harav nemar hera lefi shayadavar muflag v'rochak nofel shel mare. So in the 7 good years, it says higid. Why higid? Because it was close. And in the 7 years of famine, it says hera, because it's far away. And if it's far away, there's a lashon of mare. So you see that when it's something far away, you have to see it. Because since it's so far away, you need this koach ha're'iyah. Because the koach ha're'iyah is poel much more effectively, has much more of an impact than merely shmiyah on the soul, on the psyche. And the more something is pashut, the more something is self-understood, self-evident, the more likely it is that hearing is enough. So we're not coming to equate Paro and Moshe, but we're talking about the Shoresh Kochos HaNefesh. So you see that there's much more of a Roshem in seeing than there is in hearing, and therefore something far away has to be seen. Rav Yitzchak Peterburger, Yitzchak Blazer, When he wanted to be ma'oyer al godel haflaga v'hachidish b'koyach hatshuva lifol, he wanted to show how powerful tshuva is. He was mitzayer. Let's say the gra is wearing talis and tefillin, and he goes into the Beis Medrash and he swears about something. Now we have to say that what he's swearing about is muflog v'yoytzei migeder ha'olam shelo yu'uman. It's something that's normally unbelievable. Otherwise, why did he have to swear in order to prove his point? In order to be mevatel, to nullify the sveikus of the person listening? Is it not enough to have the ne'amanos of the gra? So why does he need dafka shvua? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is nishba chai aninu mashem im achbotz b'mos harashi kim b'shuva b'rasha midarko v'chaya. God says he doesn't want dead people to die. He wants them to do tshuva and to live. So it's muchach from this that without the shvua, they couldn't believe in the phenomenon of tshuva. That's why chai ani, God swears, Niyum Hashem, I don't want the Rasha to die. I want him to do tshuva and live. So God has to swear. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to believe in tshuva. Because it's so mufla, it's so muflag. And therefore, Hashem has to show us the Seder Tefillah of tshuva. And it wasn't enough, the limud haklali of telling him derech shmiya, like it was in the other parts of the Torah, because it's something that's so remote, that's so far away, that's so unbelievable. Kadosh Baruch Hu had to show him, so now we have a chiddush. Why did Hashem have to show him the Seder of tshuva? Because unbelievable things you have to show. And tshuva is mamish unbelievable, so he had to show it. Heralo. It was misatev kishliach tzibur, and he showed him. Kumtais, achidish. A person who sees tzitzis sees a kiyum mitzvah. But a person who sees tshuva, not only is he seeing the kiyum mitzvah tshuva, he's oisek here in learning the sugi of tshuva. When he sees how the phenomenon of tshuva comes close to the area of Ma'aseh HaMitzvahs. So limud on tshuva and the mitzias of tshuva comes derech riyah heralo seder tefillah shel tshuva. He showed him the seder tefillah of tshuva. And in this way, in relationship to tshuva, there is a blurring of the borders between kiyum and limud that's noheg b'chol mitzvos haTorah. So the bittul hagvul, this nullification of the barrier between them, of the border between them, is one-sided. Kiyum is limud. In other words, when you see the kiyum, that in itself is a limud. But not that limud is a kiyum. Learning about it isn't enough to make it a kiyum. But the kiyum, when you see it being mekuyim, you learn what tshuva is. Every ma'aseh of tshuva constitutes itself a limud b'sugyas hatshuva. So is the derech of Parshas Limud Zeh, that it comes dafka derech ma'aseh v'kiyum nis'ate v'kadosh baruch hu k'shliach tzibur v'heralo. And now we can understand why dafka Baal Tshuva is zoch to be called Rebbe, because every ma'aseh of tshuva is a hoirah, is a teaching in the sugya of tshuva. And hoirah, if somebody is a teacher, then he's called a Rav. So he had asked, why are you a Rebbe just for doing tshuva? For Ma'asim Tov, you're not a Rebbe. Why are you a Rebbe for doing tshuva? Because the whole word of tshuva is you have to show it to something so unbelievable. It has to be shown. Ma'ashein came b'shar Ma'asim Tovim. That give a person the Torah tzaddik, but they have no inyan im Torah ha'hoirah, Rav. So yes, a person can be called a tzaddik, but there's no hara. When it comes to tshuva, it's a hara, he's called Rav. So now we go back to the fact that Moshe was misvada al chet ha'egel, even though the kapara itself is done through Aaron. And that's because vidui is the ikar, is an ikar b'tshuva. And Moshe is Rabbeinu. And tshuva has to go via Rabbeinu. Baal tshuva nikra Rebbe. Even though Moshe didn't do an Aveira, the Shmias HaVidui has to be from Moshe to show what tshuva is. That's what a Rabbeinu has to do. He has to teach. And tshuva is something that has to be taught. How is it taught? By being done. So it's Dafka Moshe who had to do this act of tshuva. So kapara l'chud v'tshuva l'chud. Kapara and tshuva are in different categories. First you have kapara, and then you have tshuva. You have tshuva, then you have kapara. But they're two different categories. So the kapara belongs to Aaron. But the Maisat tshuva has to be Moshe because he's Rabbeinu. And we see this kav in Sefer Tehillim, Tefillah l'Moshe Shelokim, that's Rabbeinu. And what's the token of that tefillah? Tosheva Shano Anosha Daga V'Toimer Shuvu B'nei Adam. Because tshuva is Shaykh B'Dafka, the Dagat's Rabbeinu. So we have Tefillah l'Moshe Shelokim. And that's the parak of tshuva. Beautiful. From the vidui of Moshe we learn that the vidui has to be B'Lashon Ana. Yom Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. Like it says, Ana chata mazeh chata gedola. And we also learn that you have to mefarid es achet. Like he was maskir es chetam. V'yasu lehem Eloi zav. They made these gods of gold. The avodah of our avodah of tshuva is based on tshuva derech Rabbeinu. Indeed. Our vidui, we find something very strange. We start off and we say, Ana tavolo fanecha tfilasenu. She'einanu azei panim, etc. Lomra fanecha tzadikim menachem lo chatanu. So let our tefillah go before you. We're not so chutzpahdik to say that we were tzadikim, we didn't sin. This is a pella. A person comes to be misvadeh, and he says, "Chatasi avisi pashati," and if so, why would we think that tzaddikim anachnu? That we're tzaddikim. Why do you have to negate this abuse from the notion that we're tzaddikim? If he's being misvad alachet, he knows that he's not. The answer is the vidui of Moshe. We know from Moshe you have to mefarid es achet v'yasu lem Eloi zav. You have to specify the chet. That we learn from our Rebbe Moshe Rabbeinu. And from that, Chazal darshan, that Moshe's taina was, Atog aramtalam, God, it's your fault. You gave them too much gold and silver. And that brought them to sin, brachas. In the 5th parak. So, let's understand. From a pasuk that's telling us vidui, there's kiviyachol, an accusation against Hashem that he was the one who caused it. That's Noira. On one hand, he's confessing the sin. On the other hand, he's blaming God. So in other words, I took aram Dilam. This is Sanagori on the Jewish people. It's not their fault. You gave them the Eitzar. You gave them gold and silver. So you see that together with the vidui, there's also a Sanagoria. There's also a defense of the Jewish people. That it was Hashem who gave them gold and silver. It's not their fault. And therefore, since we're mistamech bevidui shelanu al oto katuv, since we rely in our vidui on that pasuk, our vidui is based on that pasuk. Maybe every person saying vidui should allude to the fact that maybe it isn't his fault. That's a great idea. Every time you're misvadeh, you're malamed zchus on yourself. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't really my fault. Because that we learn from Moshe, right? That's what Moses did. Shouldn't we do that also? Just like we find by Moshe, we'll also do that. So in order to preclude this notion, we say, Moshe Rabbeinu, who didn't sin, he could be malamed zchus in his vidui. But not us. We sin and we take responsibility. The big yisod, responsibility. I have the ability to respond, so I do. So the pool of Moshe B'tshuva was also binyan atfila. Zechor la'Avraham, li'Yitzchak, u'li'Yisrael avadecha. He's reminding Hashem kiviyachol zchus avis. And that's neged ha'havamina, b'onish chet ha'egel shel herif mimeni v'ashmidem v'achalem. God says, leave me alone, I'll destroy them. Let me start again with you. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, no. The chair has 3 legs and it can't stand. Yitzchak and Yaakov can't stand up to your anger. certainly a chair of one leg. How there's even such a havamina as a davar mufla meod. But Moshe Rabbeinu says it's not going to stand. So it emerges that the tefillah of Moshe was Paul that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be machzir the avos as the roots of Klal Yisrael and the foundation of Klal Yisrael Lo Bazoi. So it emerges that Moshe, B'Tor Rabbeinu, B'derech Tshuva, he's the one who stands and returns Koach HaAvos that was in danger of being destroyed. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu, our Rebbe in Tshuva, does. So Moshe Rabbeinu enters our sukkah not as a middleman of Torah, by Daber Moshe B'nai Yisrael, but rather as Moshe, the Tshuva teacher. And from learning from Moshe's Vidui and Tefillah, we also learn how to do Tshuva. And we know the Chiddush of the Gra, that the Anani HaKavod of Sukkot are the Ananim that returned after the Chet HaEgel, and not those that were there before. The Ananim, and we did the Chet HaEgel, we lost the Ananim, and then we got them back. If so, when Moshe comes into the sukkah, it's b'koach what? That he's machzir the koyach ha'avos l'klal Yisrael. It's like the Anani HaKavod of Sukkot are the clouds that return. Moshe Rabbeinu was bringing the avos back. So if Moshe Rabbeinu was bringing the avos back, for Entford, b'tuv tav v'das, why they precede Moshe as in the order of the Ushpizin? Because that's Moshe's whole point, to bring them back, to restore their former glory. So Mamela, of course, they come first, and then Moshe. And of course, now we understand why Sukkot comes after Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is Man Tikkun Chet HaEgel. Comes Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's machzir the tokef of the avos. Now that the Chet HaEgel has been forgiven, but it's but now it's necessary that the avos should be reinstated, because Hashem said, "I'll destroy you, I'll start again." But now that they're not going to be destroyed, there's no need to start again. Moshe Rabbeinu reinstates the koach of the avos, the tokef of the avos. And that's what it means. Hareyu kasher shel tefillin. That mareh that Hashem showed, the kesher of tefillin, comes together with the Seder Haros of the Yud Gimel Midas, which is Seder HaTshuva. So the Hareyu, Kesher Shel Tefillin, for whatever reason he showed him the Kesher of Tefillin, but what else did he show him? He showed him the Seder HaTshuva. Because there has to be a Re'iyah for Seder HaTshuva. Because Tshuva is something you have to see. Tshuva is something so far out, something so unbelievable, you have to see. So Hashem had to show him the Seder of Tshuva. Beautiful. So we learned some very Yatif and Yanim. We give ourselves a bracha. We should be zocha lilmod u'lalamed lishmo v'lasos u'v'kaimis kol divrei salmo terasa v'yahava. Amen v'amen. Shalom, shalom, svidus and